this is Michaela from Moya Dimelo Cinema Club, and this week we're going to be talking about The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. This is the one that was made in the 50s with Danny Kaye and my personal fave, Boris Karloff. JP's here too, guys. With me today discussing this wonderful film is El Dondino, Steve Dez, and Chris. So let's just jump right into it. Let's do initial thoughts.
All
Anybody.
right. I'll go. I found that very interesting. I didn't really know much of anything about the movie. I know there was a new one, right? I think the Ben Stiller one, but I knew nothing about it, and so once I started watching it, it was like, oh, this is one of those kind of mistaken identity type of situations, and yeah, there were some things. That guy was wild. Who's the main actor? He was wild. I don't remember ever
Danny
seeing
Kaye.
him in that. Yeah, I don't remember seeing him in anything beforehand. If I did, I didn't know who he was. He was very goofy. He was very animated. Um, there were some things I really enjoyed. Then there was others that I was like, eh. But overall, it was entertaining. I think more than anything, I was watching it during siesta time, and so I was kind of fighting the Z's while I was watching it. But I made it through.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
All right.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. To me, one of the big things was I didn't realize how much of a physical comedian Danny Kaye was. I haven't watched a lot of his movies. I think I've seen maybe one before. But the way that he is, man, I feel like he developed tropes. Like some of those had to be his first, from the cheesy, like, to like the way he holds his glasses. There's a whole bunch of, there was even like the part where he's out on the ledge. And so I was like, dude, that's in so many things. And I don't know of anything else that was in before this. So for me, a lot of this was like, I felt like there was a lot of tropes and the physical comedy was amazing to me. And that was my first impression.
That kind of surprises me. Like Danny Kaye has been in so many like quote unquote like iconic Hollywood films. Like he's one of the main characters in White Christmas. He's also in Singing in the Rain. That's a big Danny Kaye part. He's like kind of like one of the main Hollywood comedians of his time. Des, JP, initial thoughts?
Okay, I got spotlighted. So now that you say that, I did see him in Singing in the Rain. In JP, remember that class?
Oh yeah, I think everyone remembers that class. Make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh, make 'em laugh. All right,
and it was my first time like exposed to him, and I really like. I remember that epic scene in Singing in the Rain, and me going like, "Whoa, that dude stole the show." But at the beginning, because I honestly did not picture that was him until you said it just now. But at the very beginning, I was just like, imagine if Gene Wilder was playing this role. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking about that. Because certain expressions, I'm like, yo, Gene Wilder would have killed it in this part. And, but still, it was, again, I went cold into this movie. I did not see the remake with Ben Stiller. That's what I thought we were going to watch at first. But I had no idea, and then it made me like the movie itself, and maybe as we progress and we discuss more about it, you can answer my question that I still have, because I have like that dilemma that people have sometimes when they watch a movie like Shutter Island, that it's like, do you know if everything that happened really happened technically or not, even though you saw it with your eyes? So yeah. A great film. I would have never seen it if it wasn't for Cinema Club. So thank you, Michaela.
Yay! I'm so glad to hear that. Actually, I'm so happy. GP.
I think this is the first film that I've seen Danny Kaye actually lead in, because I'm very familiar with White Christmas and Sing in the Rain, and he is basically playing as co-star second fiddle to the other big leads in both of those movies.
Bing Crosby
and that other guy, the guy who dances.
Fred Astaire.
No. It's
Not
Gene
Fred Astaire?
Gene Kelly. Gene
Oh,
Kelly.
Gene Kelly. That's who it is. Yeah, you're right.
Maybe Fred Astaire helped with choreography.
Maybe.
Which was crazy because Gene Kelly also did the choreography for that one animated movie about the cats in Hollywood.
Anyways.
Isn't that weird? He choreographed made a movie. I'm sidetracking here. But it's and this is another weird thing. I've seen the Ben Stiller movie and actually seen that in theaters. It's been a while since I've seen that particular film, but that was what I was expecting it to be, because most remakes are basically like almost carbon copy of the last movie. Hardly do they make anything new out of the material, but oh my gosh, this movie and the Ben Stiller movie, night and day. Two separate movies. They of course the motif of him being kind of airheaded and always being imaginative, though that's shared in both films, but the plot, although slightly similar, is very, very different. So I thought the movie was going to be much more grounded, but then we saw it. It's great to see Danny Kaye do his thing. I'll admit, I think this one is even though I haven't seen his other lead roles, because of my first impression of him being the co-star, when I saw this movie, I thought okay, this is him showing off his I could do better than fucking Gene. I could outact Bing, you jerks, you asses, because he acted the shit out of those imaginary scenes.
He did.
And,
he did.
I'll admit I was somewhat disappointed in the third act, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was an artistic choice, but for some reason it almost felt like they were budgeting the movie as it was going, like they were shooting the film in chronological order, because it almost felt like things started to teeter off even what quality wise when it came to the production in the third act. So, but that was just that's my opinion. We'll probably talk more on it, but overall it's a cutesy movie. I don't like films that, oddly enough, because this is me saying it, I don't like stuff that's too convoluted or too complicated. So and unfortunately for this movie, that second to third act got so insane where it's I was pulling my hair a little bit, but overall C+. I'll give it a C+.
That got insane. That is convoluted.
How dare you?
No, I'm a huge fan of Danny Kaye. He's kind of like the epitome of what a performer should be in my mind, because he literally can do it all. He has a gorgeous singing voice, even though he doesn't get a lot of chances to really show that, but when he does, he's so good. I'm kind of sad that there wasn't a big dance number in this, because he's also an excellent dancer. Ridiculously so.
I think he broke all of his limbs after Make Him Laugh.
Probably. Something like that. No, I'm kind of but honestly, the real reason why I wanted to see this film was because Boris Karloff was in it, and he delivered. My man Boris always delivers. He was scary, he was brooding, he was intelligent.
Where was his fez hat? We needed his fez hat.
He didn't need the fez. He's so
Dude,
cool.
you want the best thing I heard about this movie?
Huh.
There was this deleted scene, I'm not lying, where Boris Karloff is the Frankenstein monster, and they didn't use it in the movie. Dude, imagine they used that in the movie.
Tragic.
That's insane. I don't know if it's true, but it was in the trivia stuff. It was they had a scene that they filmed and everything. And there's pictures of it. You can find it online, apparently. Pictures of it.
Really?
Now I need to know. find
I
this
was
picture.
I,
It's such a cool wallpaper for my phone.
for some reason, I had just seen the poster of it. I thought the movie was gonna be in black and white.
Mhm.
So I was like, ooh, color picture. All right. You know what this movie kind of reminded me? Hey, when
I
someone
know
was what?
Tom and Jerry, because that's what I thought at the beginning.
Tom and Jerry?
Was it the
Yeah,
music?
yeah, it's like the beginning, the Paramount, the whole
Yeah.
Paramount.
Okay. Not the
No, no,
pinball
no, no, no,
on
no.
the shelf.
It's a movie that we've reviewed before. I don't know. I don't think Chris was with us yet.
Was it a
It's
Charlie
the
Chaplin movie? Because I feel like there's some kind of stuff
There's
going on.
definitely Charlie Chaplin stuff in his performance, but it is a black and white movie. I'll give a hint. Now
Oh, it's
imagine
Alfred
it's
Hitchcock. It's Hitchcock.
yeah. What is the lady on the train, or what is that one?
Oh, I've seen that. Strangers on the Train.
Oh no,
No,
the lady vanishes.
The lady vanishes.
Oh, okay.
The lady vanishes. Yeah. So there was a lot of similarities with the lady vanishes. Just the whole idea of like, am I crazy? What am I? And they had the different doctors that were supposedly trying to help and stuff like that. And I think that's where the tone is different, right? This one's definitely more slapstick,
Mhm.
and the lady
Yo,
vanishes
we
is.
we definitely got to talk about that scene with the doctor.
Yes.
First time or later?
Okay.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
All right.
I mean, later. I just want to put a pin on
Yeah.
that.
Well, Michaela, Michaela, how about you? Where do you want to take it?
Well, I mean, I'm really glad that y'all like really liked the film. I'm kind of surprised because like I knew in my heart of hearts that maybe like if I would have known that you guys didn't have that much Danny Kaye experience, I would have suggested maybe the Court Jester, which is kind of peak Danny Kaye in my opinion. But anyways, I guess it's just I don't know where I really want to go with this because I think that it's a very traditional Hollywood film, especially of the time, especially with like the idea of having to have like musical interludes in that, and like a lot of the dramatic acting. Do you think any of that took away from the performance of the film, or were you able to be immersed in it? We all know the answer for JP.
I felt
What do
like
you
the
think, JP?
voices of all the characters in general, like his boss, they had like intonation the whole time that were like almost like a staccato. So I love that. Like everyone was kind of giving him shit. His mom was giving him shit, like in a staccato. Everyone's voice was kind of its own instrument that was giving him a hard time and really trying to control him in the movie. I like this voice.
Yeah, no, and like I think all of the characters are really likable in their own way. Oh gosh, I'm just drawing a blank here. I'm so sorry, guys.
Dude, how about the Und song? I don't know what you would call that song. That was the best musical song I've ever heard, I think. Dude, when he does that, like I was not expecting that at all. They're like, well, he's gonna go grab a coat. Guy goes and grabs a coat. He's like, he's gonna sing this song. That song is amazing. Like I was like, I could listen to that over and over. That would be on Broadway 100%. People would be singing it in their cars with CD. Well, not now, but CDs back in the day.
When he's the professor,
when he's the pilot, and then they're like, "Oh, he's gonna do an impression of this other guy."
Right. He's doing an
is?
impression of the college professor, whatever.
Right.
Oh, that was fun.
I think Chaplin did a better job at German gibberish,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
that was funny.
He basically only had Und, but it was good.
But that's the thing where, speaking of tone or the dramatic, maybe until that point, I was still struggling in figuring out, like, is this going more towards farce or comedy, or is this going to be a little more dramatic, kind of like The Lady Vanishes? Is this going to be more on the thriller part of it? But yeah, it was definitely more on the comedy kind of aspect of it, at least from what I think. Like, it definitely wasn't all that dramatic.
And one thing I really appreciate about films like this, even though, of course, there's no representation, diversification there, not
No.
about that. But what I really enjoy about films like this is like you see long takes, just almost like you're watching a play. And like films nowadays is just like little here, little there, little here, little there, like a lot of slicing. And if you worked in movies like myself, then you know there's tons and tons of takes. Versus like here is very refreshing for me to watch like these long takes and like let them play essentially. Which
I
he
agree,
did
and
the
like,
whole movie.
yeah, no, like like that's something that I appreciate about older films too, is just like being able to see someone really enmeshed in their craft the way they are, you know, because like he really does give out so many great performances in this, and there's so many different ones, and I think that's what's really special about this film too, is like you get to see all the stuff that like Danny Kaye wouldn't normally get to play because he's Danny Kaye. So that was like also really fun. Like tell me that British accent was not on point. Tell me that British accent was not on point for the day and age. Like
I do have one qualm to say about one of the characters he played when he was the casino guy. That dude did not shuffle the deck.
It was like stuck together with like.
He just did this. He just did this and then put it on the table, and the guy say, "I deal me," and then they just started pulling cards from their sleeves.
Yeah, no, that's
An accordion.
I did love that part of the casino because it's just kind of like, oh, it's a hot one here on Mississippi River type of thing, and then he won the plantation, and then he's like, oh shit, they're betting women, like, oh, this is disgusting, right? And then she's even kind of like that, and he's like, actually, it's very much like definitely kind of a dream sequence of just like, let's just drop exposition or let's just do this, and it's like, here's your family's plantation deed that he had stolen from your poppy or whatever, and it's like, wait, what? The fact that it's a dream sequence is completely valid, So I enjoyed that part, and his attire. Woo! He almost, speaking of Gene Wilder, maybe that's why I bet he looked very much Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka with the hat. And then I think in that scene when he's out in the boat, there the freaking bubble, and I was like, what is going on? So I was definitely getting that kind of Gene Wilder thing.
They did their research for those dream sequences. All of them were good, except for maybe I didn't like the cowboy one.
Yeah, the cowboy one was kind of long as too.
Yeah,
the cowboy. I feel like I'm glad you're bringing those up because I kind of forgot about them already. But the cowboy one is just silly. Which again, it could be like a Gene Wilder-esque type of thing from Blazing Saddles when they build the fake town. Spoilers. They build the fake town at the end, and it's just the front of the buildings, just the facade, and it's very much that kind of thing.
And like I think it's interesting that you say that, because I think that most of the dream like sequences are actually like on a sound stage compared to like the real life scenes that are like actually on a set. Did anyone else catch that?
Yeah, the plane going down when he's flying the plane, like that was 100% on a sound stage.
Yeah, no, like I think all of those big things were.
This was like, you could like, for the time, like I'm guessing they did rear projections for a lot of the city shots.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are really pretty good shots, unless we saw it remastered and they looked like shit before. But those look really good.
Yeah, no.
It's not a George Lucas film, so it's not. I don't think anyone has gone back and touched it up.
You can't see the strings.
I did like the plane stuff. Yeah.
Those silly ass planes. Okay, this is something that I caught during that sequence with the planes because I really liked the first dream sequence with him in the boat because that looked like really good miniature special effects. The planes ones look like really good miniatures because the planes are awesome as a model, but they were using them in such a cartoony way that almost took
They were
me
like
out.
shaking his ship, and he's like going down.
And the thing,
but it worked because it is a dream sequence, right?
It did.
Yeah. And did all machines to people in the 50s or 40s sound the same? Because I swear, those planes sounded like Casey Jr., the fucking train from Dumbo. It's like, all aboard, let's go. Like, do they all just sound like that?
Well, I feel like I missed the detail with that because, like, I feel like since it was in, like, every single dream sequence, like, Pakada must have been, like, a specific sound that, like, I just missed the first time.
Pakada. Yeah.
You know, like, just like how I feel like I might have missed a part where he got his arm hurt because they keep mentioning him, like, getting just a minor scratch. And I was, like, waiting for that to, like, actually happen in the actual film. Or at least, but maybe that's just my writer brain being like, this is what I would have done.
Because then in one he says like, "Oh, it's broken, but I reset it." I think it's just like he's a badass, right? Like, I just thought it was him kind of. It
was like in all of like most of them, you know, where like he has like an injury to one of his arms, and it's like either broken or got stabbed, or he hurt something.
Maybe they shot
so the woman could fawn over him.
Maybe they shot all of the dream sequences on the same day, and Danny Kaye was like, "Oh man, my fucking arm hurts. Let's use that."
Maybe.
One thing I noticed also there's one it's not a facial expression, but it's a not mannerism. It's a thing that I noticed, especially in old movies, and maybe they stopped in like the 50s or 60s, but it's like usually the main character, and it's usually a guy, and usually in kind of comedy, it's this thing, kind of like just like putting the hand on like the neck, and just kind of like. Not even like in the dream sequence, but like kind of like, oh shucks, kind of just like, is that just me, or is that something that we've noticed in other movies as well?
I think Danny Kaye for sure did that in both Singing in the Rain and White Christmas.
Yeah,
like,
that's a side thing.
Yeah, but not here, like in the neck, like, yeah. It doesn't work with the beard. They didn't have beards, but yeah.
I felt like I was watching Martin Short for a little while. Like every once in a while, I felt it was like Martin Short vibes. And then, dude, also the comedy of Jackie Chan, where it's like random objects become comedic. Like when he tries to pick up the chair and it falls apart in his arms, that is totally Jackie Chan. Like Jackie Chan stole that from Danny Kaye. Like that is one of my favorite things in the entire movie is when he picks up the chair and it falls through his arm and he's trying to come over like be slick with the girl and her uncle, just meeting them. Like to me, there was a couple things like that in the movie.
Well, yeah, but that's kind of like I feel like Chaplin and all those silent comedians kind of did that. Even Laurel and Hardy, and like I feel they all. But yeah, that's a great bit because then like, what do you do with the teacup, right? And I was like, well, let me set it on the chair. Well, that doesn't work. Let me set, and ends up setting it on the ground. But those kind of comedic moments, you're right. It's just like that awkward, just everyone in silence watching. Same thing, like every time he crawls into the freaking office, and what did he push over that old man 3 times? Was it 3 times? Was it the rule of 3? Twice. And then the same thing with the water cooler, and at the very end, it's like okay, it didn't spill, yeah, and at the very end, and that's been done in a bunch of comedies since. Mm-hmm. It's like stumbling on the water cooler and like trying to put it back, and it's just like spraying everywhere, and then he just kind of gives up and just like sets it down on that.
Well, Buster Keaton would have ran them over with a steam train, so
yeah.
I almost lost it when I saw that he hit that old man to like fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, do you want to get back to that doctor scene since we wanted to talk to it? Because like I also find this film very interesting in the fact that like there's a lot of stuff like since like mental health is kind of like a big thing nowadays, like you can like you can kind of see some interesting neurodiversity things happening where it's just like they didn't have the words for it, but like his character could be considered like someone with ADHD, or is that just me? Like I know I'm reading into it, but I think that's kind of like interesting to have like things being like, yeah, no, these people are just like this, so they can't help it. But at the same time, it's something that is still a wonderful aspect to them.
Well, in the spectrum of things, he's definitely ginger. Yeah!
But yeah, no, like talk about being such a bad guy that you're like, no, I can gaslight my way out of this. It'll be fine. We'll just make sure everyone thinks he's crazy.
I think the thing why that scene annoyed me, I did not like that scene, was that it was
Go on.
Stage play stuff. Like it's a silly stuff that you see like on a cheesy like Broadway stage, which is fine because like it's so like
fun.
Older films are definitely like that. That's why a lot of them have those very long single shots, because back then no one knew how to fucking edit, so why would you make someone suffer through that? And that's how people were used to seeing stories through a stage, so of course it would be much more like that. But I thought it was so hokey that it's like no way, like they could have just killed him.
But see, he has a mother who would look for him. There would be an investigation.
No.
Do you think they would look for him?
They didn't have the notepad. They didn't have the notepad.
Yeah, they had to find that little black book.
Yeah, I suppose. There was so many moments in the film where it's like it could have been so much easier with a gun.
I mean, it probably would have been like pulling out his toenails to find out where the little black book was.
Of comedic scenes, just because it's kind of we're talking about the couch doctor.
Yes, doctor.
I mean, it's
Boris Karloff. Yeah.
He was great.
So many. There's been, which one is it? Like they swapped the painting of Mother. What is it?
Yeah.
Yes, that was so great.
He was like whistling like 2 scenes before by himself, and then go in the room. It's Whistler's mother. I was like his mother. Like there was a connection in there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but then the swimming trunks, right? Or the big, that's just like, wait, what? That's a thing. And I mean, it was beautifully done. I was expecting there to be like a third one as well, right? But I only know Whistler's mother from Mr. Bean movie, the one. I don't know if you guys ever watched that.
That's so funny, well, you guys were all like, that's the one comedian I saw a lot of Danny Kaye isms in was Rowan Atkinson, and that's funny you say Mr. Bean, and that's like something that's kind of referenced. It's nice to see how things fit together.
Did you watch that movie where he plays around with Whistler's mother?
No, I haven't. It's just funny that you said that because I was just thinking that. Sorry.
No, that's right. I mean, it's his movie when he I think they're trying to get Mr. Bean as a crossover to the U.S. because it's literally him coming over to the U.S. and then hilarity ensues, right?
Definitely.
Again, there's so much where they keep doing the same bits, right? For instance, when he keeps trying to sneak down into the kitchen to help the girl, and then he has to go and say, "Bye, mother, bye, Gertrude," I think, right? Is a fiance, and then
this is hurting, but
to the mom, like, "Miss Boo, like, not gonna kiss you." And definitely did it twice. I don't know if it was 3 times also or just twice.
Well, I'm wondering if that's why the movie felt a little off too, because they didn't play by the rules of 3 very often.
Yeah, no.
It was mainly 2.
So when did the rules of 3 start?
Didn't the ledge scene was 2 also? He did the ledge thing twice also. Where he got stuck outside.
Yeah.
So maybe rule of 3 is a newer concept. Back then it was like, we only need it twice. Like,
they didn't have enough money.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. The damn pigeon using it twice too. They're probably like, we got this pigeon for the day. We're gonna use the most of it.
Poor Elmer.
Was the pigeon's name Elmer? Is that what it was? Elmer. No, it was something with an E. I feel like.
Established that he had a
Which I
relationship with them.
can't tell if that was like an improvised line or maybe Danny Kaye forgot that, like you know how like you bring animal actors on set and they all have names, but he probably called it by its stage
No,
name.
like it was established in the
Really?
first scene. Like he feeds the pigeons, and Elmer was his favorite.
Oh shit! I don't remember that.
That's okay.
Wait, no, I think I do.
Yeah,
Because he's in the
like-
park, right?
No, like it's in his office, and he's feeding them.
Yeah.
He has like a little bag,
Oh.
and then he has to like hurry and hide the fact from his boss that he's feeding the pigeons.
That's funny.
Yeah, on the ledge. It was great. So it's interesting, right? Because he seems like the lovable loser or just the loser, but it's great. Everything is done at least twice, so everything creates a pattern, right? That's the whole thing, even in comedy, right? You do it once, it's like, oh, was that a mistake? You do it twice, and it creates a pattern. So then after that, it just depends if you continue with it or you just stick to it. But just the idea of like the boss kept stealing his ideas, and then the boss would be like, no, it's an idea I had 2 years ago, and he did it multiple times, and the boss would be like, like pocket book or
Pocket
whatever.
edition. Yeah, pocket edition.
Pocket edition. Thought of it 2 years ago, and everyone's like, oh yeah. But yeah, everything created. So it was nice when he finally stood up to everyone and was just kind of like,
oh, dude, how about how he punches that dude in the face? Everybody's like, everyone's like, oh no. And he's like, shut up, everybody. Blah, blah, blah. Hey, you. And he just knocks that guy out. It's like,
Yeah.
like
It's
that
just
was
cool.
awesome.
The poor buddy
that's
all the time. Also, he was the bad guy in all of his imaginations.
Yeah, totally.
Like not the actual villains.
Not
Just
the
this-
actual villain, his fiance that he doesn't even love.
That was my favorite part of the movie.
I mean, that keeps going, which also is a trope, right? I was like, you're going to marry this girl, but then there's this other girl that's kind of like, who is this? Like, maybe I'm starting to have more feelings on this because it's not being forced onto me. But I mean, that guy that he actually punched was trying to steal his fiance, before he found
Honestly, that
the
seems
blonde.
like a solution to me.
right?
What?
Totally. It was a solution. She's right.
Yeah.
But it ended the whole thing. You wouldn't have to worry about that woman.
But yeah, that punch was real. But earlier when he like kind of does like a slap punch to the nice guy, it was like, oh, that's fake. Because they had talked about let him save her type of thing. So I would have loved like once he like slapped and the guy just fell on the stairs, and once he like went in towards the door, you just see the guy get back up. But you didn't. But he was up within, in the very next scene.
I got a Luger right here. I got it right here. Ooh, I so
Dude, that was so Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny stole that.
That really
But
was. It was great.
I loved it.
That's also been kind of like a Chaplin or Buster Keaton. Like that, yeah, that's an old gag as well. Like,
totally. But I mean, even now, it's still people they still do it.
It holds up. It holds up.
Yeah. Dude, to Steve's point before, what do you think was real? How about the scene where you see the girl kicking her legs when the door opens right after the girl comes out in her uniform at the psychiatrist's office, and we see the girl's legs kicking and she's tied to a chair, at that point, and then he opens the door and she's gone. Like, I agree with Steve. There are parts where I was like, I wonder if he's imagining some of this.
I don't think he's imagining that because they did such a big thing of the swimwear, right? And they even changed that. So I imagine that's just freaking.
They just drug her away.
Yeah, like false walls or whatever. Like definitely we don't see the mechanics of it, but it just feels one of those things. I mean, the only thing that we get is that it's his imagination is the blue lighting on him, on his face right before. So, but I would have, and that's the they didn't do it. The lady vanishes because it was black and white, so you didn't get the blue tint. But I would have almost, for me, I knew when it was real and when it wasn't real. But I almost would have liked it to be trickier on us knowing whether it was a dream or not. But maybe I didn't have an issue with that because clearly it might just be too smart for JP of a movie for him to
No,
realize.
I told Kayla, like, I want this movie to end with him waking up. That or, like, you know, smoking a really hard drag in, like, Arkham Asylum and then telling his psychiatrist you wouldn't get the joke.
God damn it, Jiffy. God damn it.
Make it black, make it black.
Talking about bits, they even had the bit of closing the door and the glass breaks.
Yeah.
Which you clearly see the crack in the, like, you see it. But that's been done over. That's even in Hot Shots. That's in all those kind of
Naked Gun kind of stuff.
Like slamming the door. So yeah, I guess I realized. Yeah, when I was watching a bunch of them that have over again for sure.
Yeah. No. Yes. Well, I'm really glad that you guys really liked it. Is there any other points that we really want to talk to, or do you think we're already ready for final thoughts?
Well, I guess I mean, I want to know a little bit. Well, no, I was gonna say I wanted to maybe hear a little bit more about the
new one.
The new one, but
I don't think anyone's really watched it recently.
Definitely,
the new, like, it's definitely different because there's bits from the new one that they used from the old one, but very, like, it's very, you gotta like look through a microscope because in this one he works at a kind of, I thought it was like a smut publishing.
It was.
It's, you know, mostly like
what was considered smut back then.
B horror shit like that. Where in the new one he works actually
it's like
at
Time magazine.
Time magazine, and instead of trying to find the books with the lost art, he's trying to find this lost picture of a negative that Time magazine wants to, that he believes Time magazine should use as one of their last publications. There is a love interest in the movie, but it's a co-worker, not someone who ropes Walter Mitty into this whole shtick. And, you know, Walter does in this movie goes place to place in reality, but in this one, like, he goes globally trying to find this work of art. So there's elements in both movies that are similar, but they are two completely different stories. I don't think anyone dies in the Ben Stiller one.
No. I don't get stabbed in a car. That one is as dramatic as Ben Stiller can make a movie. You know what I mean? It's like still Ben Stiller movie, but it's dramatic as a Ben Stiller movie where he's still being typical Ben Stiller. You know, the music in it is awesome. That movie has great music. It's Jose Rodriguez. That guy's an amazing musician.
Is Robert De Niro in it?
No, Sean Penn's
No,
in
but
it.
Sean Penn is.
Sean Penn is on
it. Sean Penn's in that fucking movie.
I feel this movie, though, I feel like, is there a Buster Keaton movie where it's kind of that same thing, where it's like a mistaken identity kind of thing, and
he's like, not like this. Like, it's not as twisty.
But like, he falls out of favor with the family of the girl he's about to marry or something like that, and has to kind of has to uncover this plot or this whatever to basically save his name. Well, maybe it's How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. There was a bikini in this. No.
I got it. Macbeth. We're talking about Macbeth.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
That was, I guess, another thing I didn't really like. I really liked the chemistry between the two characters.
Yeah.
Walter and Rosalind. I just thought it was very so weird how the third act made her into this damsel in distress, and they really committed to that to the point where they made such a big deal out of the book with the art, and then like I don't know if you guys caught this, we never see it on screen them taking the book away from the boot guy. We don't see that. He's pushed to the ground. He's pushed to the ground. Yeah, but we don't see him getting cuffed, and we don't see them taking the book. And then they call the girl a name, and then suddenly the movie kind of becomes that, where it's like, oh no, he has to defend.
They call her a Jezebel.
Yeah,
Jezebel.com. You're a Jezebel.com article.
You you goddamn home wrecking harlot, two-timing, womanizing, I can't think of it. Scarlet lettering. A fucking Belle from that one Twilight. Yes. I don't know. But I thought that was weird. I thought that was a really weird way to end the movie.
Yeah. I kind of did feel like they ran out of ideas at the end. It felt really rushed.
No, I just, guys.
Okay.
I thought they ended it. I mean, it's under 2 hours, so everyone's happy. It's an hour 50 minutes, and the first 5 minutes is credits, because it's back in the day when all the credits were up front, and it was just like, boom, who did this? And so I thought it was a quick edit, but there were very few moments where old movies, it's kind of like they spy spots and it's off. I feel like with the pigeons, it happened once or twice where pigeon, it wasn't clearly pigeons coming in the same shot. It was like the first shot, and then all of a sudden, pigeon just kind of appears. So I feel like if it was going to be an awkward shot, it would have just been redone, because it's that. I think I was just like, done. Let's go to the, it's kind of like a CSI Miami or something like that, where it's like, we got him. Let's go to the final scene, final breakdown.
I didn't like the ending.
What do you mean? Really?
Well, part of it was like, he was like, now don't go in to have a daydream. And he didn't. It wasn't like he leaned off at all at that point. Like, he didn't, it wasn't, the ending was like, don't do this. And he was like, all right, I won't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, so
you learned his lesson.
Yeah, I guess so.
No. I think that's one of those things, right? Like, which other movies have done, where it's like someone is stuck. Someone doesn't have their purpose, right? Because he's living with his mother. They even bring that up, right? Like, ooh, living with your mother type of thing, right? So he's just like this drone of a guy that's just like, oh, mother knows best, and I'm and they have to hook me up with this other girl, and even she's kind of like, you say time out?
No, he kissed his mother on the mouth.
He did.
Oh, yeah. Which is a weird thing, and I have my immigrant family, which is like German and Swiss, like. My aunts would try to do that, and my brother, me, and my cousin were like, no, stop this. This is not okay. We are not kissing in the mouth. You want to kiss the cheek, but we're not. We don't want that. But yeah, so I think it just shows where he doesn's have a purpose. Even his fiance is like, is he gonna be like this when we get married? You know what I mean? She's even like, is he still gonna be like this when we get married? So it was until he found this girl, until he stumbled upon this, larger than life kind of thing, right? The man in the red shoe, or the boy in the red shoe, whatever that is. I think that's a Tom Hanks movie. or any mistaken identity is like it takes you out of your comfort zone, or it takes you out of you just being this drone. And once you find yourself, it opens who you are. That's why he like stands up to everyone. And after that, he don't need to daydream no more because he's living his best life.
Makes sense.
That or he wakes up in Arkham Asylum, and then for some reason, Lady Gaga starts
across the
singing.
table. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Solved it, guys.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Can you believe Boris Karloff got took out by a fucking
Yes.
paperweight to the spine?
I mean, it was a pretty big paperweight. Like, if something this big hit you, like, massive.
Hey! And there goes my screen time. You can't afford me. Bye!
Yeah, and he says he killed him, right? Doesn't Walter Mitty say he killed him to the girl?
no, does he?
I wouldn't doubt it, to be honest.
I'm sure Walter definitely thought that.
I just think
Yeah,
it's
it
great
didn't. I mean,
that,
it didn't
like,
happen. Yeah.
No,
Karloff's not in the movie as long as the other people, but he had second billing.
he did.
And once again, the
Man deserved it.
the old helpless wheelchair guy can walk, right?
With a Frankenstein shoe.
With the Frankenstein, I need a boot.
Because
See,
the boot.
that's when I saw the boot, because I told Kayla, I want Rosalind to be like, and then it's fucking Boris. I thought that was gonna happen.
That would have been
As soon as I
solid.
saw the boot, I was like, oh, that's him in a mask. But no, he's just. And then they explain later, it's like, oh, I don't know how my uncle looks like. It's like, you don't know how your uncle looks like? You've never met your uncle.
They didn't have the internet.
My only thing that took me out of it was like the passport or whatever that's on the floor, and it has and that's the only thing that she recognized that it wasn't her uncle, but I didn't get why that would be on the floor.
I guess because like that guy got murdered and he must have taken the passport. I was trying to resolve that as well.
When Rosalind enters into the office with Walter Mitty, right before then, he is looking at all the stuff on the desk, and as soon as he hears the door open, he tries to put everything away. So I'm betting that happened to be on the floor because he does clean off his desk right before they come in. So that's why that was on the floor.
Yeah,
and
like,
you noticed something that no one else noticed. How did it confuse you later? You were ahead of us.
I'm sure if there was a plot, I would have saw it too.
Whoa!
I didn't hate the movie. The movie is just a product of its time, you know.
Yeah.
Very, very stage play-y, you know. And it's like,
and you just have no class when it comes to theater.
We don't have no class when it comes. Okay, teacher. Okay.
JP, is this your way of saying that you like the Ben Stiller movie better?
Yes.
I mean, I haven't seen it in a long time, but
yes,
I wouldn't mind watching the Ben Stiller one.
It's set in Iceland, and this one's set in New Jersey.
Right?
Well, see, there's the problem right there.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, that train station looked an awful lot like the same train station that's in Vermont in the fucking in White Christmas. It looks like the same train station.
It probably was.
Probably. And I thought that was awfully funny. I was like, wait a second, that's in Vermont.
All right. Well, if anyone has anything else to add, I think we should probably start final thoughts here soon. I'll go ahead.
Wasn't it weird that in the cowboy one, the dirt was painted on the ground? That was weird, right?
It was very Oklahoma of them. Yes, it was very Oklahoma of them. I'm really glad I got to share this with you. I hope this makes you want to explore old Hollywood a little bit more. Just because they're like the golden age of Hollywood. There's just so many great performances. Even though unfortunately, because of awful practices, there's not a lot of diversity that we definitely missed out on. There are some good eggs there. And I'm glad that I got to share one of them with you.
At least there wasn't any blackface or yellow face or red face or
No, did you see the boss? He was mad a few times.
What?
JP is being
And
dumb.
I didn't hear what he said.
Because when those of the lighter complexion, when they get upset, they tend to go red face.
Oh.
I
guess I'll go. In retrospect, which is a nice thing when we have these reviews and conversation. A lot of times, especially when we watch, at least when I watch movies by myself, sometimes I get a completely different perspective on it. But then when we talk about them, I like find things or I remember things that make me at least appreciate the movie more, and not if I don't necessarily end up liking it more. This is one of those movies that definitely the more you look at it and the more you kind of dissect it, the more you see that, oh wow, this is actually a great, not just like example of its time period or them trying new things out or playing with different kind of formats, kind of like the daydreaming and stuff like that. So after talking about it with you guys, I feel like I enjoyed the movie more because I remember clearly the different like bits and stuff like that. So yeah, after talking with you guys, I definitely enjoyed it more. I don't think I'd recommend this one to anyone. I went in this completely in the dark. I didn't know it was Boris Karloff, or I wasn't paying attention to the credits at the beginning, so I didn't recognize anyone. Sorry, but I did enjoy it. I did feel there was a pretty good connection between the leads, between the dude and the lady, and I'm glad she wasn't oh shit, what is that called? The Bertolt test, the Bar. Yeah, she wasn't just like a damsel in distress, right? She kind of did she played him. Let's be honest, she was playing him. So I enjoyed the movie. I actually did. After talking about it, I don't know who I'd recommend it to. I don't think I'd recommend it to anyone. But yeah, that's what I thought about it. That's my final thoughts.
Okay, since I'm on the screen, I recommend it. I recommend this movie. I would recommend this movie. I would recommend this movie. I would definitely recommend this movie to folks who definitely do not have that long of an attention span, who work in the publishing industry. I would definitely recommend it to them types. And no, it's a fun movie. I'm still gonna be that guy, and I'm not gonna apologize for not liking like the latter half of the movie. But it's a product of its time. So let's say people who are into old Hollywood, people who definitely like Danny Kaye, like this is his movie. Which is funny because like I said before, I've only seen him in co-starring roles, even though I know he's been the leading man in several movies. This is the first one that I've seen where like he's the star, he's our guy. And the entire time, whenever there was a dream sequence, I couldn't help but think like, oh my gosh, he's like he could outact all those assholes that he had to be second billing for just because he wasn't that handsome of a man or had a baritone voice, But yeah, no, he's very, very talented. Great story, man. But like, go ahead. And if you guys want to watch the Ben Stiller one, I recommend that one too.
All right, Chris or Steve?
I'd 100% agree with JP. The newer one is also a good movie, but it's completely different in the sense that like this movie is like you're learning a lot about Danny Kaye. Like this movie is all about just seeing how diverse of an actor he is. So many ways he can, entertain you. And to me, it's a totally different movie. But I would 100% recommend this to a lot of different people. To me, it's like anyone that's trying to understand like the golden age of Hollywood, but also like people that are like studying like very early comedic tropes, like there's so many things in this movie for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I did not. I agree with JP in one aspect. I did not love the ending. I felt like they kind of ended it. But again, back then, money was king, and sometimes that's what happened. Studios ended movies. They changed how things ended. So I could totally see that happening in this case. What do you think, Steve?
Thanks for throwing it to me, Chris. So the weather here is quite a sight. I enjoy these type of movies because those are kind of like the secret gems. Like me and JP used to take a class back in the college days of watching Golden Age Hollywood movies, basically for a class, and you discover these gems. But this was one that I never seen before, and because I mentioned earlier that he wasn't Singing in the Rain, I remember watching it from one of those classes, and I thank Michaela for sharing this particular movie because I really enjoyed it. Who would I recommend it to? Probably homies of mine that are into comedy primarily, whether it's improv because it's very physical, or even stand-up comedy. I think they will appreciate it on their free time when they're, doing their ceremonies with the ganja. Possibly they might be able to, really get into this movie because it's one of those movies that you got to ease in. And I agree with what a lot of people have said. I did not enjoy the ending. I actually had to rewind it myself because I was like, wait, it's over? Like what? Like what just happened? Yeah. It just felt like it went like, boom, there you go. Get out of the theater.
Wait, really? Sorry. Oh, finish your final thought.
No, go ahead.
I was just like, I'm stunned that people didn't enjoy the ending. I thought it was like a quick cut, but I don't know what else you guys would have wanted the ending to be. Like they go to trial, and they, you guys won the Scooby Doo ending, I guess.
Scooby Doo it, man.
Got away with that if it wasn't for you.
There's a lot of stuff that wasn't really resolved. Like the whole booklet thing wasn't really resolved. Like him, actually the marriage. He hit the guy, but he never looked her in the eye and went, "I'm sorry, you're a nice girl, but not for me." It's just it cuts to him and Rosalind in the same place.
It's not so love that he got a promotion by watching his not only being roasted by his underling, but watching that underling slug a complete stranger. It's like, that's what we need in this business.
Steve, you got your hand raised. What you got?
My real question is, why didn't Walter Mitty become like a series on TV? Because we need to know. We need to know.
It was called Quantum Leap.
The way it could be, but the reason for me why I thought the ending was fine is because I can't even remember her name.
Rosalind.
What is it?
Rosalind.
Oh yeah, Rosalind from Shakespeare, right? His true love. But the inspiration for his writing, supposedly, even though it's probably actually Marlowe and there was no actual William Shakespeare. What? Crazy. No, never mind. But Rosalind says oh, this belongs to, it wasn't Belgium. It was Norman. No, it wasn't. It was whatever country. She blurts it out, and that kind of ties that up. We're handing it back to that country, and it's theirs. Now, when you say a series, the kind of Indiana Jones kind of thing would be, you're gonna go find all these treasures now, and or it belongs in a museum type of thing. But yeah, so I thought the ending was fine. Well, I don't know. It's movie from what? From the 50s? What else? I don't know what else you guys want other than the.
I wanted Walter Mitty to also slug Hitler.
Yeah.
I wanted the Third Reich to bust in there. It's like, there's my art. And it's like, right here, you Nazi son of a bitch.
He's got those lick 'em, stick on Nazi swastikas on the side of his plane.
Yeah.
Those were solid.
That's pretty awesome, I will say. But I feel like he should have it with like it crossed off, right?
Yeah.
Like just the swastikas can be like, whoa, buddy.
I just
Yeah.
imagine him like with a big old like sticky notepad of his swastikas. Like every time he takes one, I was like, okay, that's one.
This is the most Nazi plane I've ever seen.
That's probably why he gets them so many. They think it says like, look at that American. Oh, but look at the swastikas. He's a fan.
Not a fan.
That was funny.
He's a Fanta. Get it?
Oh.
Oh.
All right. Well, I guess with that, I think everyone's given their last final thought. Steve, what do you have for us next week?
Oh,
Wait, did you give your final thought?
I did. I said I was really glad I was able to share this with you. It was two of my favorite actors of all time. Yeah, like it's a good example of what the golden age of Hollywood is. I love movies like that, and I know that there's not a lot of people who find these things entertaining, but every once in a while, I'm right, and when I'm right, I'm right.
Yes. And now, I think you have a question for Steve.
Yes, I do. Steve, what do you have for us next week?
Say it right.
I'm not.
Next week, thank you so much for asking me because it's actually my turn for Cinema Club. And I want to start and lead, since nobody has suggested, I want to start and lead a new category.
Ooh.
Where we are going to go one round. And we're going to pick movies that were impactful for us or culturally meaningful for the people. So those are your choices for the next movie round.
Oh,
and for next movie, again, it's for you or for the people, but they have two different meanings. For me, I picked one that I feel is both. It was very impactful for me, but it was like culturally like awesome and energizing for the people. And that movie is the original one, not the sequel, guys. Coming to America.
Ooh la la. Okay.
Can I do RRR again?
So there you have it for Chris, JP, Michaela, El Dondino, and me, Steve Dusty B. We'll catch you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Ciao, 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 ciao.